Good evening to one and all. Good evening to one and all looking at us from all over the world. Welcome to the Rush this evening. My name is Randolph Critchlow. We want to say thank you very much to those persons joining us internationally, in the region, and right here in Guyana. Folks, we have so many things to unpack, and so we're happy that you're joining us. We're happy, very happy that you're joining us this evening. Let's unpack, folks. Let's unpack. We have so many things to unpack this evening. The fire chief was reported to have been sent on leave, then he's not. Folks, so many things happening. We have COVID on the rise. Of course, we're going to be talking about the bottomless pit. That is GUYSUCO. We see several sugar workers getting another top up from this government as they continue to neglect our civil servants, as they continue to neglect our public servants also. We're also going to be talking about what's happening up there in region number 8. We're going to be joined by the deputy mayor of region number 8, Ms. Burrows, and she's going to be telling us about the developments there, quite unsettling developments up there in region number 8. So we're going to be talking about that and a lot more to unpack, folks. Lots more to unpack. So, folks, as we normally do on the show, we'll come back in just a few and give you your shout outs. We want to say hi to those persons who are joining us from all over the world. From wherever you're joining us this evening, we're going to say hi to you as usual on the program. So let us know. Put in the comments right now where you're joining us from. Put in the comments where you're joining us from, and we'll be back to unpack.
One time for the bass, alright. Back in the day we used to live Charlotte Street. Just learn to walk and speak. Me woulda grab a bucket, 2 stick of milk in and gone in the yard and beat. Miss Paul used to suck up she teeth. We didn't kick cause the music sweet. You could hear me little voice in Regent Street, but I'm still in the game. On the stage I'm keeping the flame. Used to jump with Leon and Shane. We used to make enough nights in the neighborhood. Get vexed and call over Dwayne. Tell them music run in me vein. Yesterday.
Right, welcome back, people. We are ready to go. I'm just sharing a few more places, and then we are going to be unpacking. Right, let me just ensure that we have all of our T's crossed, the I's dotted here on the rush. Let's get into our greetings this evening. Let's get into our comment section as we say good evening to people from all over the world. As you come on, folks, remember to share the live stream. As you come on, remember, share the live stream for us. Let others know that the rush is on and we're ready to unpack some credible and valid information here on APNU AFC TV as we continue to bring you the information daily. The rush is on Tuesdays and Fridays, folks. We know the persons would have been asking me about what is happening. We're not seeing you. We are on through Tuesdays and Fridays, folks. Tuesdays and Fridays we are on. So let me just deal with a bit of housekeeping. Diamond is in the house. Thank you very much for tuning in, Diamond. Atlanta. Let us know where you're joining us from. Good evening, Miss Williams. Right? Rowena Williams, always locked in. Thank you very much. Those persons who are joining us. Let me scroll back up because we've had so many comments already. Good afternoon. We had somebody spamming this thing, but we have good housekeeping here. We have good housekeeping here on the rush, where we take care of persons, the trolls, and the spammers. Virginia, welcome. Diamond, welcome. Watching from Washington D.C., the capital. Watching from the capital. Antigua is in the house. New Jersey. Let's go down the list and see who else we have in the rush this evening. St. Kitts is in the house of South Carolina. Miss McCalmont from South Carolina, thank you very much for tuning in. Share the live stream, Miss McCalmont. Share it. Right? Thank you very much for being here. London is in the house. London, good evening. Good evening, Miss Brenda Braffett. Thank you very much. Watching from Florida. Share the live stream to your folks in Florida there. Let's go, folks. New York is in the house. New Jersey, Connecticut, Queens. Wow. Ingrid Blackman from Queens. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much. Fitz Gulliver. Right. from Brownsville, New York. Thank you very much for tuning in. Share the live stream as we get ready, folks. You see, we give people a chance to come into the program. We give, at this point in time, we're giving you an opportunity to share with your friends and your family and your loved ones. Let us know, folks. And in the comment section, folks, we like to know how you're doing this evening. Not just where you're from, how are you doing? Where you are. If you're joining us from Guyana, we thank you very much for tuning in. We know that things not regular in the country, but hold up, hold straight, hold the line of battle, folks. Hold the line of battle. Buxton, Elroy from Buxton, thank you very much for tuning in. Maryland is in the house. Mas Bacchus from Maryland, thank you very much for tuning in and being a part of the program. Montserrat, right? Montserrat, Linden, Donna from Linden, thank you very much for tuning in. St. Lucia, New Jersey, so many, all over the world. People joining us from BVI, lovely BVI. Aubrey Ward from BVI, thank you very much for tuning in. Nicole Ya, thank you very much for tuning in, folks. We're going to get going in just a few. As I said, we have so many things to unpack this evening, and we're going to give you a whole lot of content as we lead up to the ring with Sharon at 8. Of course, we're going to hand you over to Mr. Duncan, the Honorable MP Duncan at 8. He's we're going to have fun in the ring tonight there. But of course, we're going to do our thing in the rush before that, because I have some things I want to say, folks. I have some things I want to highlight. I have some things I want to unpack. And as I said, we are going to be looking at what is happening there in region number 8. I was so surprised that it seems as though the Ministry of Local Government, folks. Let me just give you a bit of preview before we're joined later down by the Deputy Mayor of the town there, Madia. Before we are joined by the Deputy Mayor, as to what is happening. You might remember that this town was commissioned under the APNU AFC, right? President David Granger and along with the Ministry of Communities, a number of new towns were established in those 5 years of the APNU AFC, right? They were established. Beirut is in the house. So I want to say, and I want to suspect that this wicked and conniving government is on a trajectory to stifle those townships that were created under the APNU AFC. And the actions of the tin pot dictator, Dharamlall, says exactly that. That they're on a trajectory to stifle those town councils and those townships that were created under the APNU AFC. We're going to get to the bottom of it. You're going to hear tonight exactly what they've been doing. Welcome, folks. I'm now getting to the bottom of it. Pleasance is in the house. Good evening to you, Miss Sampson. Pleasant good evening to all of you joining us right now, folks. We are going to be unpacking some credible and valid information. Let's get right into it, folks. Let's get right into it. Alexander Village, how you doing? Brooklyn is in the house also. Brooklyn is in the house. Folks, let us know how you're doing this evening, I don't normally ask you how you're doing. But how you doing, neighbor? How you doing? Let us know. Right, Samuel Richards, I got a magic trick for you. We got very good housekeeping on this program. That's one thing I must say about on our program. We have very good housekeeping here in the ring. And here in the rush, and of course in the ring, we have very good housekeeping. Right? So Samuel, right? Just had a magic trick there. Ontario, Belladrum. Belladrum, how you doing? How you doing, my people in Belladrum? Indiana. Folks, this keeps coming. Watching from Sparkling 6 and watching from St. Stanislaus College officers in the tent. I don't want to make laugh of it. It's a serious matter. It's a serious matter. Those officers who are in the tent at Saints, good night to you. Good night. You're working on the duress right now. You're working on the duress. So if you're looking at us from in St. Stanislaus compound under the tent, good evening to you. Good evening. We hope that you have a wonderful evening and you're able to serve and protect the people of Guyana. That is what I want to see. That's a very wicked comment. The Namsel is in the house, west side. Folks, let's jump in. Let's jump in right now. Let's start with what has been happening as it relates to the fire service. Now, one might remember the Sharon's Mall. Does anybody remember the Sharon's Mall incident? Can anybody, you see, we like to find out whether or not your memory is shallow, you know, right? Right? I remember very keenly reporting, coming on air and telling people that it was about 5:30 when people recognized that there was smoke coming out of the Sharon's Mall on Carmichael Street, right next to the court. Michael and King, I think, is that's the corner. That building was entirely gutted by fire. The Guyana Fire Service was on scene when there was just smoke coming out of that huge building. We're not even going to the Breakdown police station as yet. Right? The Sharon's Mall, remember it, folks. So I don't know what is this surprise, this utter disgust that the president seems to be in. Now he's suddenly surprised that the Guyana Fire Service is ill-equipped to deal with serious fires. They were on scene, folks. They were on scene when there was just smoke coming out of the Sharon's Mall. Yes, Charlotte and King. That's the location. The Guyana Police Force, a few weeks after that, had a big exercise in front of Freedom House on Robb Street to show, you know, because this government believes in show business. So they had a big fancy exercise on Robb Street. Do you remember that? When got out fire hydrant and the spray and they went up on ladder. Strategically, they did it in front of Freedom House on Robb Street. A big show. A few weeks after the Sharon's Mall was destroyed completely by fire. Fast forward to a few days ago. And I'm not even going to go to how the fire was started and the information coming out of the Guyana Police Force about how the fire started in the Guyana Fire Service. We're not even going to go into that because we don't believe it. Let's just put it like that. We don't believe it. But let's deal with the fact that the president seems surprised that the Guyana Fire Service, which is a stone throw away from the Breakdown police station, was unable. Not a concrete building like Sharon's Mall, but an old wooden building built in the 18-something, in the 1800s, 19-something. An old wooden building that's older than everybody right now. When Breakdown police station was built, I don't think anybody in Guyana was alive. Do you think the fire service that couldn't save Sharon's Mall, that wasn't on fire, totally on fire when they reached there, smoke was just coming out, people were parked outside. You think they were able to save this old rickety building that made of wood? Look, and I want to examine this because I don't believe that the president is directing his anger and his ire at the right person. And we'll discuss who exactly needs to bear the blame. Penelope here, Miss Howard is saying that it's 1953. Well, I wasn't born, so maybe some persons who are alive right now were born then. So, but it's an old building. But let's take a look, folks. Let's take a listen, and I want to point out specific things that the president said, and we'll unpack his comments and his attack on the civil and the public servants, and we'll put that in context to what is happening right now with the sugar workers. We'll hear the president use words like waste. We'll hear the president use words like efficiency. We'll hear the president throw about hundreds of millions being wasted. This is the same government that is wasting money in GUYSUCO. But let's listen, and I want to point out a few things that he said. This report coming from, of course, News Source, Gordon Mosley.
On Sunday, the president expressed his frustration with the Guyana Fire Service being unable to douse the blaze before it completely gutted the buildings in the police complex. He said the inefficiency of the fire service cannot be allowed to continue.
He said that the inefficiency, let's break it down, folks. I like breaking down things. That's how we do it in Rush, you know, we unpack slowly. He said the inefficiency of the Guyana Fire Service cannot be allowed to continue. That is all well and good. You didn't know that the fire service was inefficient when the Sharon's Mall burned down when they were standing right out there. But let's think about what else. Where else are we seeing wasteful spending? Let's turn our attention to GUYSUCO. Isn't that inefficiency? Let's continue, folks. Let's listen to what he has to say.
We cannot continue as a country and as a people to not address these issues. We can't continue to make investments and not have the returns on the investment. Whether it's in the public service, in the hospitals, the inefficiency has to be weeded out.
The Guyana Fire Service.
When it's in the public service, the inefficiency needs to be weeded out. The inefficiency needs to be weeded out. Right? I want us to listen to the entire thing and we'll come back. Let's listen to
Service appeared overwhelmed by the Saturday afternoon blaze, and its initial response to the fire at the divisional headquarters for the police force in the region appeared inadequate. President Ali said those providing public service should leave their jobs if they are not up to the task.
If you don't want to perform public service, then do the honorable thing. Don't take a job in the fire department and believe it's a part-time job. Don't take the government assets, safety gear, and leave it home when you're an emergency worker.
The president also said in the past year alone, the government of Guyana has spent hundreds of millions of dollars on the Guyana Fire Service, and he's not happy with the work from the fire service.
Hundreds of millions of dollars. And to put it crudely, you can't respond to an event in your backyard.
Hundreds of millions of dollars, the president said. I want to point out a particular thing though, folks. I want you to note the rhetoric. I want you to note the continued attack of those persons who are working in the civil and in the public service. If you don't want to do the work, go home. It's inefficient. People ain't doing what they're supposed to do. When have you heard this president or this administration speak like that about the wasteful sugar industry? When have you heard that? When have you heard them attack? This was the president who jumped out and said, this is politically motivated. Then you hear some man in the cell burn it down with a sponge and a wire. instead of figuring out, folks, instead of standing there and attacking people, because I don't know what you're surprised about. You've been sitting there now for 429 days. 429 days. And you don't figure out yet what is happening? But I want to posit this evening, folks. I want to posit that all of this confusion that we have here needs to be placed at the feet of the minister. I don't look. Let me bring this in. This is what we saw. Break-in, fire chief gone. He needs some time and space, Minister Ben. Minister Ben saying that the fire chief should go home. I don't have a problem with that, actually, you know. Because in Sharon's Mall, he was supposed to go home. That's my thought. But no, anybody else should talk. Not Minister Ben. What is Minister Ben's record? Look at Minister Ben's record since after 429 days. What is his record? Look at the handling of what happened in Success with those persons who were squatting at the back of Success. Look at that. Look at the handling of the Henry Boyce case. Look at the handling of the continued rise in crime. Look at his handling of the prison situation. Look at his handling of the fire service. And he can't figure out yet how to sort out Edo, Calamity in Edo, who is the fire chief. And the confusion continues, folks. Right? Lenny Ramatar, I got a magic trick for you. Good housekeeping here in the program, folks. That's one thing we're very proud of. Right. So this article, folks, let's go to it. Fire Chief Calamity Edo, has proceeded on leave. He has outstanding. Home Affairs Minister Robeson Ben said on Tuesday, this is today, folks. Edo and the Guyana Fire Service were criticized following the fiery destruction of Brickdam Police Station on Saturday. When contacted, the minister said Ben was asked if Edo was being asked to proceed on leave was directly linked to the Guyana Fire Service performance. Right? And the minister said he needed some time and space. What sort of madness is that? He needed time and space. We were told that Edo will have to hand over to Deputy Chief Officer Gregory Wickham. And so we saw that. Then, folks, you think it's easy in this place? It ain't easy. After that, we saw this. Let me just share with you. Right? We saw this article. Edo reluctant to hand over. Let's see what happens. Ben. Folks, if you're following me, let me just wrap it up back for you. We had the catastrophe of Brickdam fire, coming on the heels of all the other inefficiencies, according to the president of the Guyana Fire Service. Then today we heard the minister said that Edo needs some time. The fire chief needs some time and space. I don't know what the hell that means. I will go back to my point that the finger needs to be pointed at Minister Ben, because he has mismanaged everything that comes under him. Every single thing. So Ben said the fire chief needs some time and space. I don't know if they're in a relationship. You know, when people tell you in a relationship they need time and space. Then, shortly after, you see another article that says that the fire chief is reluctant to hand over. And when Ben was asked whether or not the man will hand over and proceed on leave, Ben said, we will see. We will see what happens. After he said the man needs time and space, now he said, we'll see. What the hell is that? What is that supposed to mean? Folks, you can't make these things up. Fire Chief Calamity Edo has been verbally asked to proceed on leave, but is yet to be written to. This is according to Big Smith News. This publication understands that whether or not the fire chief proceeds on leave or hands over to his deputy hinges on him being written to by the powers that be. Of course, he reported earlier that he was sent on leave verbally. But when they caught up with the Home Affairs Minister, this is what he said. When he was asked about the fire chief not handing over, since he was not officially written to, Ben said, let's see what happens. Now imagine this Dali house that we run in here, this cake shop, Carl Guyano. This got to be a cake shop. Wendy, yes, Wendy, I believe you're correct and you're spot on. 72 hours and no press conference yet by the fire chief. Nothing to tell us any details about what happened. But what we have is the minister telling us, well, he needs space and time and we can see what happened. If anybody should be going home, it's Minister Ben. If anybody should be going home, it is Minister Ben. The president and all needs to go home. The whole cabinet needs to go put them on an island. A big island, let them have a very long vacation. Don't come back. The whole cabinet. You think it's easy, folks? This is a cake shop we run in. We pointed it out, you know, folks. These people, this PPP, spent 5 years criticizing the APNUFC. Apparently, they know how to govern the country. We don't even know if they have cabinet meetings right now. Because there's no post-cabinet briefing. When Jagdeo feels like he wants to tell the nation something, he holds a press conference. Nobody knows when or where decisions are being made in this country. We are running a day there. This is a country, is a cake shop, apparently. If the minister could tell you, well, he needs time and space, and then we can see what happen after such a catastrophe. Folks, somebody said no press conference because all the evidence gone. All the evidence gone. The Ghana police force wants us to believe that a prisoner in the cell started the fire. This is after the president come out and say, no, this is politically motivated. It's not a real place. It's a cake shop, folks. It is a cake shop. But let's move on. We can't dwell on this. Let us move on. We also, folks, as we continue to focus on the Ghana police force and the job being done by the Ghana police force and the Minister of Home Affairs responsible for security, we continue to see what is happening today, we saw an article, a very interesting article by Mr. Paul Slow, where he said the Guyana Police Force needs action plan to address emergency situations at the police stations. And as I said, he will be joined by the Deputy Mayor of Region 8 in just a bit. Let's discuss, and we'll discuss what is happening there in Region number 8. We're getting ready for that. We want you to be aware of what's happening around the country. But this article by Paul Slow is very interesting. As you know, Paul Slow is embroiled with that legal battle with the government. In a statement on his Facebook page, Mr. Paul Slow said that there should be a risk assessment of all police buildings, especially wooden ones. He said that the administration of the Guyana Police Force should not operate as if it's business as usual, given the 2 recent events. But will they listen, folks? Will they listen? Will they listen? Of course they wouldn't listen. Because they don't like order. They don't like anything that has to pass through the right channels. But we'll continue. I wonder if they listen to Paul Slow. As we talk about the police force, and we talk about action in the police force, we are keeping our eyes, folks, keenly. We are keeping our eyes peeled in Region number 9. Because if it is one thing, folks, our memories are not short. And we are keeping a list. We are making a list and we're checking it twice. Our memories are not short. And so Obama says it's not a cake shop, it's a dolly house. But we remember the issue with the REO from Region number 9, Mr. Karl Singh, who shot the young lady. We remember that story. What has happened? Nothing has happened, folks. And today we're going through an article where it says it's as if nothing ever happened. That's the heading of the article. It's as if nothing ever happened, folks. Just another example of the wicked and corrupt nature of this PPP government. And some councillors in Region number 9 are not having it. Right? Some councillors in Region number 9 are not having it. Right? Several councillors from the Regional Democratic Council of Region number 9 plan to continue the boycotting of meetings of the local government body once embattled REO Karl Singh remains on the job. And kudos to them. Good job for standing up for something that's right, for standing up for justice. Because this is as clear as day. Karl Singh has been at the center of a shooting incident in which he has been accused of allegedly firing several gunshots at 25-year-old. Right? Gladys Benedict of St. Ignatius. Right? And she was shot while in his company in July of this year. The police had reported at the time around 11 p.m. on the 17th of July, right, in the commercial zone of Letem, the Ario and Benedict were in a motor vehicle belonging to him when he shot her in the abdomen. The Ario and the lady, then the woman, the young lady, were in his vehicle and he shot her. A file on the investigation incident has been back and forth between the Guyana Police Force and the Director of Public Prosecution. That is the nature of what happens in this cake shop that we're running here. And they believe that people will forget, but the people of Region 9, the councillors especially, have said we will not forget this issue. Back and forth between the police and the DPP. We can't figure out how to administer justice, at least charge somebody if they're connected to the PPP. But I commend those RDC councillors from Region Number 9. Right? After initially deeming the incident an attempted murder, the police later, right, deemed it an apparent accident. This is a young lady. This is what is happening. But the people of Region 9 have not forgotten. And we will not forget. We'll continue to highlight this issue, folks. We'll continue to call for justice. Because this cake shop behavior can't continue. Thank you very much, folks, for continuing to share the live stream as we go through the topics before we get our guests in this evening. As we go through the topics, we encourage you to share the live stream, encourage you to let your friends and family know that we're on. We're on. We have a good few minutes more to continue our programming, letting you know what is happening around the country. Of course, today, folks, as we take a break from some of the top stories, to remind you that today, the People's National Congress Reform celebrated its 64th anniversary with a simple flag-raising ceremony at Congress Place, Sophia. We were there this morning. The chairperson of the party, Ms. Vala Lawrence, chaired the program. And, of course, we heard comments from the leader of the PNCR, Mr. David Granger, also. Well, congratulations to those persons who were there, 64 years. Of course, remembering their founder leader, Lyndon Forbes Sampson Burnham. Right. As we continue the program, folks, we want to say, of course, if you are able to, we, of course, have a PayPal account, a PayPal account. therushgy@gmail.com is our PayPal account. And, of course, if you're able to support the program from here in Guyana, we are on MMG 618-7321 or 617-0244. Continue to help us to bring the credible and valid information to you. But let's move on, folks. Let us move on. What else is happening? We know that our COVID numbers are going up, and this is a major issue, folks. This is a major issue. We saw the other day, unfortunately, I must say, the death of a 13-year-old 2 hours after he would have received the COVID vaccine in Region Number 1. And our sympathies, our condolences goes out to the family of that teen that died. 13-year-old Region 1 boy dies 2 hours after second dose of Pfizer vaccine. Investigation launched. Folks, you know what is sad about this? That this will help to fuel the vaccine hesitancy, and it is sad because there needs to be answers. What exactly happened? What were the conditions? Were there any underlying conditions? There are many questions to be answered, but this is a truly sad situation. And again, our condolences are with the the family and friends of that young man who lost his life. Suspiciously after 2 hours after taking the COVID vaccine. So we want to say, of course, that we continue. We hope that a proper investigation is launched. The Ministry of Health has confirmed the death of 13-year-old Muruka boy 2 hours after he was administered a second dose of the Pfizer vaccine, right, that is being used to vaccinate children against COVID-19. A full investigation of the teen's death is being ordered and a post-mortem examination of his body to be conducted. According to the Ministry of Health, the young boy was administered the first dose of Pfizer vaccine 3 weeks ago. He received his second dose of vaccine at 2 p.m. On the day, and he was observed 20 minutes later. He was observed for 20 minutes after taking the vaccine, and there were no complaints, and he was allowed to go back home. 2 hours after he returned home, the young boy collapsed and was rushed to the Kamaka Hospital, where he was pronounced dead on arrival. Right? Again, the Ministry of Health is urging citizens not to indulge in speculation and await the results of the post-mortem and other investigation. And they extend sympathy to the family of the young boy. Of course, we started the Pfizer vaccine for children close to a month ago. And like we've been saying, the Ministry of Education has placed all of their eggs in this vaccination basket. And they have refused to continue their education of people so people can feel comfortable. People can feel comfortable taking this vaccine. Right? And it is sad. It is truly sad. It is truly sad. And as this is happening, folks, the installed Minister of Health is pushing for new vaccination card so that he can stop the forgery that is happening apparently. Apparently, persons are continuing new vaccination cards to be implemented to curb forgery. This is his focus at this point in time, folks. This is his focus, right? To bring new vaccination cards so we can stop the forgery. Whilst we have serious issues, folks, let me say this and let me highlight the failings. I'm going to highlight the failings and I'm going to suggest the solutions that were suggested by the AP and UAFC if you want to properly deal with what is happening. But this government doesn't intend to deal with it in the manner that was suggested because they have their business interests at heart. First of all, folks, we needed to be aggressive in terms of testing to see if we have the Delta variant and other variants here in Guyana. That needed to be our first priority. Let's talk about solutions. Because people say, you know what, we come and we row and we argue on these shows. But we've put forward salient and sensible solutions. But this government does not want to hear those solutions. They don't plan on doing anything that would affect their business interests because some of those solutions to help protect our people would affect their business friends. But we have put forward those solutions. We have said that, look, provide free testing for the workers. Your workforce is very important. Test people for free so that they can get back to work and school and teach and work in the public service and the police force. Test them. If they are positive, you go ahead with your contact tracing, you go ahead with your treatment and your isolation. Free testing sites should be put up around the country. But first and foremost, we have to figure out whether or not we have these aggressive strains, these aggressive variants in the country. Can anybody say to me, what has the Minister of Health put forward in terms of finding out whether or not we have Delta here. That should be his first task, to figure out whether or not we have the Delta variant in Guyana and then act accordingly. But it's the acting that got the problem. It is the acting that got the problem. Because if you recognize that Delta is here, then you have to put more stringent measures in place to curb the movement of people, and that will affect their business. That will affect their business. And that is what they were afraid of. So instead of trying to figure out whether or not we have Delta variant and trying to put curfew measures and stay-at-home measures and mix that with vaccination and free testing and all of these things that will create a package of measures that will see a reduction in COVID cases and death. No, we're not doing that. We're making new vaccination cards so people can't forge the other one. That's a focus. That is a focus, folks. When the APNU AFC called for the no confidence against the Minister of Health and the Minister of Home Affairs, it wasn't without reason. These two people are clueless. These two people are clueless. And I don't say that without any evidence. It was little over a week ago when a reporter asked Frank Anthony whether or not this decision by the United States and the CDC to have persons vaccinated again with WHO approved vaccines was a good thing. Frank said he know if the CDC said that. Just let that sink in. Just let that sink in. You would think that the Minister of Health got the CDC website on the computer open 24 hours so he knows every single update. Whenever the CDC puts out something, he knows it. You would think that you would believe that the person tasked with running our healthcare system would know what the CDC said. Well, I don't know. That's what he said. I don't know. I have to go and check. And that is the man that is running our healthcare system. Right? Say it's not right. Say it's not right. I got a magic trick for you. See how that fit. Check the one. Try the one on. Right. But that's the man that's running our healthcare system. He, you know, I tell you, it's a cake shop. It's a cake shop. We sell sponge cake and fruit cake and buns and things we selling. That's what we doing in Guyana. Folks, let's move on from this. Shambolic. That's what it is. Shambolic. And before we bring in our guests, I think we'll have about 5 more minutes before we bring in our guests. And we'll ask her to come in just a few. Right? But before we bring our good, we're going to bring, but let's jump in on this particular issue. Let's deal with this last one before we go to Region 8. We're going to Region 8, you know. Right? We're going to Region 8 in just a few. But let's deal with this. One more topic, one more thing. You know, I like to do one more thing on this program. Let me open it so everybody can see this. Yeah, I know I've been talking about sugar for a while now. Folks, you know, there's certain things that, you know, that you just have to smile about. You just have to smile. This is an administration, folks, that for 2.5, almost 3 budgets, can't figure out where to find some money to increase public servants' wages. Ah, boy. But every time the sugar workers sneeze, you hear a couple billions going up to Region 6 and going to the sugar workers. Every time. Y'all think it's a joke? It is so clear and blatant right now that this administration gives little regard to the public servants of this country. GAWU welcomes $250,000 cash grant for sugar workers displaced by estate closures. Folks, do you know why this is a laugh and a joke? Because in 2018, again, our memories are not short, and we like to remind you. In 2018, when those estates or the sugar industry was being right-sized by the APN UAFC, those sugar workers received severance packages. You have ministers running around telling people that they are now giving sugar workers money because they never received money. Right? That is what they're doing. Trying to rewrite history. Trying to rewrite history. But folks, let me remind you. Let me remind you of what actually happened. Right? Let me remind you. October the 31st, 2018, $3 billion supplementary funding approved. $2.5 billion for severance payments. This is October the 31st, 2018. The heading says PPP support government fund severance for sugar workers. They supported it. $3 billion. Our memories are not short. So folks, this illegally installed administration continues to throw money at the sugar industry in hopes that something magical will happen. Well, we know nothing magical ain't going to happen in sugar. But it is hopes to keep their supporters on a string. And I want to say this unequivocally, that I have no problem with you giving sugar workers some money if you believe that these are your supporters and these people deserve $250,000 more on their severances that they already had. If you believe that your supporters need a top-up, fine. Give your supporters a top-up. But why are you neglecting others? Why have you not said what is going to happen with public servants? Why have you not said what is the money that we're giving to teachers? Why have you not said this is what we're going to give to the nurses? Why have you not said the other civil servants, we will ensure that we put off $3 billion for you? Mark Doris said the people will collect the money and beat out the country. That is exactly what a lot of them will do. Because they're being robbed and they're being killed. Because this administration has failed them in terms of security. So even when they collect the little money, what do you think they're going to do? pay for visa. Folks, on Friday, we'll have a deeper dive, a deeper unpacking of the amount of money that has been doled out already for sugar workers. It ain't easy. Right? Magic trick. Banjo, enjoy the magic trick there. Folks, without any further ado, let's move all the way up to region number 8. Let's move to region number 8 because I'm depressed. I'm depressed. It's best I go and apply for a sugar worker job. All the teachers and the nurses, let them go cut cane. Let everybody cut cane, man, because apparently that's where you're getting the money. Right? Somebody said, let the sugar workers go and teach. Let the sugar workers go and take care of the people in the hospital. Let the sugar workers go in the ministries and work. Not me saying this. These are the people in the comments. And this is how people feel. That is how they feel. Folks, let's move on. Let's move on. We want to welcome in the Deputy Mayor of Region number of Madhya, which is in Region number 8. And we're going to have a conversation with her, Miss Joanne Burrows. Let me see if she is there. Good evening to you, my dear.
Good evening to you, Randy.
I can barely hear you.
I do hope that the signal worked for us tonight.
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Just
good evening to you, Randy.
Yeah, just ensure you put the camera straight in front because the audience wants to see your face. Right, just settle up the camera for us and let's go. I want to know what is happening there. What is happening? Tell us what is happening in Madhya Region number 8. I know you had some issues, but inform the audience as to what exactly is happening.
First of all, I want to say thank you, Randy, for having me again tonight.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the opportunity to highlight, to giving the opportunity given to me to highlight what is happening in our tongue, Region 8, Madhya. Are you hearing me and seeing me clearly?
I'm hearing you, right? We just need to bring down your camera a little bit. So yeah, great. Go on.
Okay, there. Okay. Yes, as a Madhya tongue, we are having some challenges that actually is frustrating the council as it is. We are a council, an elected body to represent the tongue. We are a new tongue, but as it is, the government that now is in power has been from time to time starving the council of resources and frustrating and confusing the Region 8 township.
Yeah.
Now, as a council, we are representative of the people. The township have a responsibility.
Yeah.
And as we're not being consulted for nothing, whether it's regional or whether it's within the township, we're not being consulted. We have been ignored and rejected. The ministers of government, which would be the local government minister, that would be Nigel.
Dharamlall.
Yeah, he visit us twice. The first visit that he made to Madhya was a successful visit of which he had a discussion with us as a township and a council. And we had a discussion that was satisfactory. And he made some commitment to us. And upon that, with that commitment, the mayor wrote him to remind him of those commitments. And those commitments was returned to us in a document stating that we should fulfill those commitments with our resources. That's one of the things. The other time he visited would have been a couple days ago, of which he was rather disrespectful, I would say, to the mayor. That meeting was called in the regional, at the regional boardroom.
Yes.
Now, I would, if the local minister is within the township, I would suggest there's a forum to discuss matters concerning the township, of which
Yeah.
he would want to have a discussion with the town council, the councillors that are elected representative of the town.
Yeah.
But the mayor was called into a meeting where the business sector and members of the community, along with the regional democratic representative, and his authority was questioned in that meeting. Now, we as a statutory body, we have a responsibility for a specific exercise in the township.
Yeah.
How do we go about or go forward with those responsibilities if the minister of central government is in the township with the public and is questioning our leader, who is the mayor, in the midst of those persons?
Yeah.
That is one of the disrespect that we're having. Besides that, we have the PPP group members, not 95% of them, but we have members in the group that usually disrespects the council, share their views within the township of questioning the authority of the town council. Now, we know that we're a new town. We're just several years. We don't have much revenue schemes. We have to implement that system. We have the challenge and we have the job to be policymakers, enforce those policies, and educate the people at the same time. Now, we can't do the job if you're there and you're coming to contradict the township.
Yeah.
And besides that, when the township do come up with implementations to facilitate what they have to do, you're trying to suffocate that, or you're trying to just get that out of the system by telling the people negativity or sharing negativity with them.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we work with that?
Yeah.
The central government is supposed to be committed to assisting us to do improvement of lives, to be a help to us to develop the township, and that is the program. We're supposed to be collaborating with the RDC and the other councillors to have a collaborative effort to have development. We cannot have that because they did not establish the town, so they decided that the town must fail.
Yeah. And
So that is our situation in Madia.
Yeah, that's what I want to get to, because we have highlighted on this program before the interference of, I call him the tin pot dictator, Dharamlall, on many levels and in many aspects of local government in various regions. I take it that his visit there with the council didn't serve to strengthen the council, as I believe that that's a job of the Minister of Local Government and Regional Development. I always stress the word development. Your job is to ensure that those councils are made strong and people have local democracy, that they can govern themselves, not for you to control everything. What was the tone of that visit by the minister, and did the council feel empowered after he left, or you felt dependent on him? What's happening?
Well, as the meeting was kept, I'm going to give you a little hint of what happened.
Yeah.
Because not getting sufficient assistance from the central government, of which a town that has just gone.
We're not hearing you. We're not hearing you.
The town would depend on the assistance of the central government because it's a new town.
Yes.
We depending on assistance in revenue and assistance in educating also our people. And he came there, and after that visit, we have another job. It's like we have a new job now, because you came there, you not only question the authority of the council, you give the people in the township questionable, and you give them ideas to say, well, what are we doing? Do we know what we're doing? They're going to question their leader now.
Yeah.
Like, do we know what they're doing? Because in the system that we're living in, the Region 8 and these interior locations, persons, I would, let me give you an example. We would call a meeting as the town council, and we would have 50% of the persons coming to that meeting. And if you call a meeting and you should mention that we're having visitors from the central government, you will have 95%. Because the people in the areas like that, they depend on what they have to hear new, or they tell themselves that they have something new to hear from those areas. Now, when you come and you give them the information, or you give them the idea that the mayor and town council have no idea what they're doing,
Yes.
what would you think would be the results when the mayor and town council decide to consult with the people after that meeting?
Yeah. Yes. And
So as it is, we have to go afresh now, go back. We have been educating the people. We have been educating them about the township, what is the authority of the township, but then there are some rules and some laws within the township that you yourself, knowingly, that's the town's responsibility, and you question that.
Yeah.
Now, what does it do? It confuses our people. It confuses them. It's a lot of questions you meet up with when you go out there. You have a lot of questions other than people coming out with ideas. They have questions.
Yeah. So what is the position now of the council and moving forward? You have a job to do. You have to try and raise funds. You have to take care of the township. What is the position now of the town council moving forward, dealing with the situation?
Well, one of the reasons why I'm saying this to you is because we have been meeting and coming up with solutions because one of our problem or weaknesses is revenue schemes. Yeah. We have a few of which, for some reason, has been gradually pulled away from us because we are dependent on the administration. Mm-hmm. And it has been gradually pulled away from us. So we as a council body has been sitting and discussing of implementation and solutions that we could come up with. So those solutions, one of the solutions is what recently have been questioned and have been denied on the government behalf through the Minister of Local Government. Yeah. The Minister of Local Government did not take the opportunity to actually come to the township and meet with the council and have us a discussion as a body and give us some ideas, but rather he called the meeting with the business sector of who are the persons that we were trying to consult with to get some kind of a solution. He called a meeting with them, and then he questioned that same solution that we were coming up with in the presence of those people.
So
and he also mentioned
undermining the efforts of the town council.
Exactly. That is what I'm saying to you. And in that meeting, he also mentioned that the town council have no authority to do what it is we had in place. No authority. And the thing that we had in place is that we sent a proposal out because, Randy, our township it was a mining landing. Yeah. And to identify a lot for residential reasons, we would go through the GGMC, where will be geologies and mines. And then from those reports, we'll go to the lands and survey because it was a mining town, a mining landing. And so those are the solutions we do. Those are the routes where we go to obtain lands and to deal with all these matters. Now, the thing is, we educating the people and we trying to let them know we cannot do the rates and tax that the normal towns do. that was there for several years. So we have to start from somewhere. And I would believe as policymakers, you have to make your policy as a new tongue. Now, I can't do that if you have a central government organization that every time you put something forward to go forward as a new tongue, they come and they shut it down.
Yeah.
Every time.
Understand.
So it is a very difficult position we're in, but we stand by our word because we have sworn to work for our people. So we are going to come up with strategy, of which one of it, we have to educate them all over again, enforce what it means to have a township, and what it means to have a council body that govern your township.
Yeah.
So we have to start from there again.
Yeah. We've said from the beginning that this PPP government doesn't believe in democracy and more so local democracy, where people have the opportunity and the right to govern themselves. They want to have control. Dharamlall wants to sit down in his office in Georgetown here and be able to say, well, Region 8, y'all must do this, put road here, do that. They must control everything. And we saw this when he was telling people in region, the RDC and the NDCs in region number 2, that they must take this money and do street lights. When people in the Pomeroon is boats, they put the street lights in the river. And so we have these instances where they try to take control of these things, and everything must be done from central. And more concerning is their attitude towards those tongues that were created under the APNU AFC.
Exactly.
And as I wrap up here, Deputy Mayor, I want to thank you very much for bringing this information to us. We'll continue. We'll come back, of course, at another time to see what developments and what has happened since we spoke. But any words as we close off about the work being done in region number 8 and how you guys move forward?
In region number, well, as I said to you, we have a lot of work to do. We have to go back into the township and review all we did, educate the people back again. Those of those persons that do not really comprehend, we have to take time to get that done. Them know as it is, it's all about the power and the position, is not about them. We as the council body, we will try our best, and we have to succeed because we're not selected, and we have to try our best to fight for them and to stand up for them, let them understand their tongue and what they should expect from us. And we need also their support, because the township cannot develop just with the council. We have to have the people's support.
Yeah. Right, and we thank you very much for that. We thank you for the work.
We have to have the support. Before I go, Randy, before I go, I should let you understand also one of the things that bother the township is that there's a lot of implementation without consideration within our township, and because there's no consultation with the town council, there's a lot of questions and there's a lot of persons that are in hurt, because you implementing stuff, not thinking about every region have a different lifestyle. Every region have a different livelihood. Everybody live different. Every region does not operate the same. And all these implementation with not consulting the township, the town council who represent the people. The town council are not just councillors, they are constituency reps that can pass on the information. Who better than the constituency rep that to pass on this information and help people to understand what is happening. Yeah. So because of that, we have a lot of hurt happening. We have a lot of angry people. We have a lot of people who are lashing out here and there. So you might see a lot of things happening in Region 8. It's not just because they want to. That's a way of lashing out of what is happening, and they tell themselves that they're not getting anywhere with whatever they're saying.
Yeah. Right, and we hope that situation is remedied. We hope that the work that you continue to do, the fight that you're continuing to fight with this installed regime bears fruit, and you can continue to work on behalf of the people of Region Number 8. Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much, Randy, for having me and that I can highlight the people of what is happening in Region 8.
Thank you very much. And we'll definitely have you back another time to bring us some more updates. Thank you.
Yes, thank you too.
Right. Folks, we're talking there with the Deputy Mayor of Region Number 8, Miss Joanne Burrows, about the situation there in Region Number 8. As we're talking to her, folks, we have some breaking information, some breaking news here. Breaking news, folks. You don't want to go anywhere because the story, you know, people said this one more people. This one more people. Let me see if I can pull it up. We have some breaking news. We do. Right? We have some breaking news and we're going to bring it to you. Don't go anywhere, folks. You know, my friend Sherry, they say that you need your popcorn. Now, you need your popcorn for this one. Trust me. Folks, as we were talking with the Deputy Mayor, we saw an article. We saw an article from a news source, Guyana. Let me pull it up for you. This is what the article says, folks. Suspect in Brickdam police station fire denies any involvement in starting the fire. Says he never confessed. Folks, if y'all ain't believe that this is a cake shop this government running, y'all can believe. Y'all can believe. This one more people. I have sat and I've listened to many lawyers, including Nigel Hughes, talk about how this Guyana police force essentially forced people to confess. Forced confessions. This one more people, folks. Share the live stream. We have a few minutes before we go into Sherrod. But this one more people. Let me pull it up. The man said he never confessed. He never confessed. What sort of madness is this, folks? The man Clarence Green, who was in the Brickdam lockups when the fire engulfed the station on Saturday, met with attorney Ronald Daniels and Kiswana Jeffers today and told them that he had nothing to do with the fire and was forced to sign a statement that was never read to him. Y'all think it's joke? Y'all think it's not a small, it's a big cake shop we running in this country. And the Guyana police force believe people's stupidity. We want more people. The man the police claim confessed, folks, to starting the fire that got to the Brickdam police station is denying that he ever made any such confession. And he's accusing the police force of forcing him to sign a statement after he was allegedly assaulted during the questioning. Y'all hear story? Y'all hear story? We can't make this thing up, folks. We can't make it up. The man told his attorneys that he was arrested early on Saturday morning on allegations of armed robbery. He said that he was searched before he was placed in cell number 4 inside the lockup. There was nothing found on him during the search. Attorney Ronald said his client told him that he was the only one placed in the cell at the moment. And moments after being placed there, he started to smell something burning and raised an alarm, which was ignored by the police. He said a prisoner in the cell next to him also raised alarm that there was something burning and a burning scent was coming from the cell. But the prisoner's complaint was also ignored. Green told his attorney that eventually fell asleep but was awakened, right, when a prisoner at his door threw water on him to alert him that there was a fire. The man said by this time smoke was coming in the cell and the police started evacuating the area. They were taken to another building in the compound and searched again. Then taken to a nearby school and searched again, before eventually being taken to Sparendam police station by bus on Saturday evening. Folks, you hear a story here? This one more people. When I said earlier in the show that this is a cake shop we running, it's a fancy cake shop we running in this country. Man confess. Man say he never confess. He know anything about what you are talking about. Folks, you can go read the story. Read the entire story on Gordon Mosley's page, News Source on Facebook. You can get the story or go to newssource.com. newssourcegy.com. Get the information, folks. We're running out of time. I wanted to delve more in this, but this is some interesting breaking news. We're going to talk more about this. And of course, folks, this is not the only case. This is not the only case. We have seen this. This is not unfamiliar. Remember the Henry boys? They picked up 3 men and said, look, these are the men that killed the Henry boys. Men said they know nothing but that. Pick up 3 junkies. Forced confession, folks. Why the hurry to force somebody to confess? Why? That is a good question. Why you so hurry for somebody to confess that you needed to force a man, allegedly force a man to say that he burned down this place? What is really happening? We are going to get to the bottom of it, folks. But as we sign off this evening, a thought for our country. We are in turmoil from region 1 to 10. 429 days of shambolic leadership. We can't even call it leadership. Shambles, folks. Shambles. Let's go, folks. I have to take my leave now. Let's continue to work together. Let's continue to work together for national development, folks. Let's hope that this country doesn't have to endure much longer the dark hands of the PPP. Let's hope that this country doesn't have to endure much longer. With that said, folks, do enjoy the rest of your evening. As we said before, if you want to support the work that we're doing here to help us expand, you can support our programming on PayPal. The rushgy@gmail.com is our PayPal account, and MMG is 618-7321 or 617-0244. On Friday's program, we'll go back to our call-in segment and we give you an opportunity to have your say as we normally do. Right? Thank you very much, folks, for being a part of the program. As I always say, let's continue to work, folks. Let's continue to work for national development. Do enjoy the rest of the evening. Enjoy the Ring with Sheriff Duncan coming up next on APN UFC TV. My name is Randolph Critchlow. Stay safe.
One time for the bass, alright. Back in the day we used to live Charlotte Street. just learn to walk and speak. Me woulda grab a bucket, 2 stick of milk in and gone in the yard and beat. Miss Paul used to suck up she teeth. We didn't kick out the music sweet. You could hear me little voice in Regent Street, but I'm still in the game. On the stage I'm keeping the flame. Used to jump with Leon and Shane. We used to make enough noise in the neighborhood. Get vexed and call over Dwayne. Tell them music run in me vein. Yesterday. One time for the bass, alright. Back in the day we used to live Charlotte Street. Just learn to walk and speak. Me woulda grab a bucket, 2 stick of milk in and gone in the yard and beat. Miss Paul used to suck up she teeth. We didn't kick out the music sweet. You could hear me little voice in Regent Street, but I'm still in the game. On the stage I'm keeping the flame. Used to jump with Leon and Shane. We used to make enough noise in the neighborhood. Get vexed and call over Dwayne. Tell them music run in me vein. Yesterday.